center for a couple of reasons. I guess the main reason is because my husband is from West Africa, and kind of being in a hospital means something very different there. And he felt nervous about sort of the hospital environment, and being at the birth center allowed us to be in sort of a small setting that felt a lot more like home, but without actually trying to do a home birth, which I was a little nervous about that prospect. It also just felt really family friendly, and I really appreciated the support to have as natural and unmedicated of a birth as I could do. So we had a really, really great experience.
The feeling of like relief when my husband and I got there for labor, and I had been in labor for about 12 hours already, and when I had gotten to the birth center at about midnight that night, I was already fully dilated, and it was like 4 hours, and he was there, and I just felt utterly taken care of. And the midwife who was with us was Maureen, and it was everything I could have hoped for my birth.
One of the things I like about the birth center is that it's very friendly, but it's also all based in evidence-based care. So my background is in public health and women's studies, and so from the moment I walked in there, I felt like it was a place that was very empowering, but also really knowledgeable about all the things that were known about natural evolution of birth, but also how to manage birth when things are more complicated, and how that relates to women's health care more generally.
The way the birth center is set up here is just a very welcoming and homey environment. You feel like as soon as you step through the door that you're just a part of this family that is so comforting.
So I had some struggles with breastfeeding because Miss Corey here had both acid reflux and some issues with laryngomalacia, and so there's lots of different ways that you could breastfeed and adapt your breastfeeding based on those. And so I went and got some wonderful help from Rebecca, directed me to evidence-based research that she had the articles already printed out for me. I went back a second time when I went back to work and was having struggles with pumping, and she gave me great strategies, real holistic strategies to avoid mastitis when I had clogged ducts, which seemed to be a real recurring problem. And so I think the positive part of the story is I didn't have to go back because I used those suggestions, and I've been doing much better since then.
I wanted to go somewhere that felt like home. I didn't want to be in a hospital, like sterile environment. I wanted it to feel relaxed and comfortable, and it was our first birth, and I knew it was going to be stressful, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to go, and I felt like if I was in a place that was comfortable, was like my own home, that it wouldn't be as stressful, maybe.
I mean, the whole time I was receiving prenatal care there, I was really impressed with the consent approach, and how often the midwives were like, let me tell you about some things coming up, let's tell you about some like approaches and things to consider, and then you go and think on them, and next time we'll talk more. And there was never a moment when they said, this is how it's going to be done, this is what's going to happen. They always said these are some options, and I really appreciated that.
The midwives never had a set plan for me. They were willing to listen to my suggestions, but they would just offer kind guidance on helping me if I said, I'm really trying to achieve this. Then they would, say, well, hey, we can try this or we can try that. What do you think? And they would always ask for my input, and it was never like, you need to do X, Y, Z. They were just kind of gentle guiding me towards my birth. It felt like home every time I came back. The smells and everything, seeing familiar faces, it just felt like home being there. And every time after Gavin, when I was pregnant with her, walked in for my first prenatal visit, and I was like, I'm home again. And I felt that way again when I came for my first prenatal visit with this baby. Just felt like I was home. So the birth center feels like now, like a second home.
Happy birthday